Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the second round of Catching Up with Metal Aid. My guest today is Shao-Pin Chu, the one and only. I just need to express my gratitude to OAC, Ontario Arts Council, for providing us with the grant to do this. It makes it a lot easier. And then we can appreciate the artists more. So thank you to the OAC for providing the fundings. And today we have the honor of having Shao-Pin Chu here. Shao-Pin is everything, I guess. You're a designer, you're a creator, you're an inventor. I can call you an inventor, right?
I suppose in some
Yeah.
ways.
I was thinking about
Problem
that last
solving.
night. I was like, Shao is definitely an inventor. You're a machinist, you're an artist, you're an educator, you're everything. You're a man of many, many talents. I have a lot of respect for you. I've had a lot of great conversations with Shao, so that's why me and the Metal 8 team thought that having Shao today would be amazing. And thanks for being here, Shao.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
No, really, it's our pleasure. I can't wait to share your great talent with the world. And I'm going to pass it on to you. So I'm just going to ask you to maybe introduce yourself, give us a little bit of background about your practice or where did you start, and then we can jump into the presentation.
Okay, so I'll talk about myself and then I'll be sharing my work, some of my work. Uh,
Yes.
I was born in Taiwan and my family immigrated to Canada about in the 90s. And then I joined the family a little later because I had to serve the military uh,
Right.
compulsory service in
Is
Taiwan.
it still like that, Shao?
No, I don't think so. It's a voluntary. They couldn't handle the numbers if you everyone received
Right.
jobs going into the military service. It would be a lot of people that couldn't handle the number of people. So now I think now you is voluntary. It's not necessarily you need to do it, but uh, when I was in Taiwan, I had to
You
serve
have
the
to attend.
military.
Yeah.
So I was in the military police for 2 years.
Okay.
Yes, and then so my brothers came with the family, and
Okay.
that's before me. So after my military service, I joined the family in 93. I immigrated to Canada. So the first year was language study. My English was very poor. I
Okay.
didn't speak much in 93. Couldn't read much. So it was some difficult times to get to know English so I could communicate and learn.
Sure.
So
And
I
Shao, sorry, did you guys move to Ontario, to Toronto when you first moved?
Yes, yes. So we moved to uh, Toronto. My
Hmm.
my family lived near High Park area. It was a very nice area.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's a nice area.
Both my brothers studied at U of T,
Okay.
and one of them was aerospace engineer,
Right.
and then later switched to um, nuclear science.
Right.
And my other brother is computer engineering.
Okay.
So I'm the oldest in the family.
Oh, you're the oldest. I was gonna ask. Okay.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
was introduced to the jewelry program at Georgetown College by my mom. My
Okay.
mom knew about this program because when she was at the language school, the school had a small tour
Okay.
to Georgetown. So
That's
that's how she
amazing.
found out the jewelry program. So when I landed, my mom said, "Oh, what are you gonna do with your sheet metal skill that you learned in Taiwan?" I said, "Well, I could get a job, get myself recertified or certified
Yeah.
to become a sheet metal technician or machinist or auto mechanic." And then so I was contemplating what to enroll, but my mom said, "Oh, let's go see the George Brown College. I know about the jewelry program." So we went there and we made an appointment. We visited the program. The program was small but very interesting.
Yeah. And
So I
sorry,
met
which year is this? This is 2000.
no, this was
Huh?
94.
Oh, wow. Okay.
93, 94. It was 93. I think what was within the first 3 months I landed.
Okay.
I landed in the summer.
Okay.
So I knew I wouldn't be able to enroll the program because my English was very poor.
Okay.
So I had to either get my English credit from high school or taking English course at
Yeah.
George Brown.
Okay.
So they offer a language course. So my mom said, "Oh, why don't you just go to the high school and sign up for just basically grade 12, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12." My English was not very good at all.
Okay.
So I took extra credits when I was at high school. I also took night school credit so that I could finish within 1 year
Okay.
instead of 2 years because I
Okay.
was missing credits.
Good
I
credits.
was
Yes.
gonna
Sure.
do only 2 credits a year.
Okay.
I wouldn't have enough. So I decided to take a night school.
Okay.
I took the extra English credit, so I was able to apply. But when I
Okay.
applied George Brown College, so I had no idea what portfolio meant.
Right.
Coming from Taiwan, it was pretty new to me, and so I submitted my portfolio and had an interview, but I was on the wait list
Oh, okay.
because the school George Brown intake then was only 30 students maximum. So I was on the wait list. So my brother kept calling the school to see if
If you've gotten
yeah
in,
if someone else
you've got a very supportive family. That's amazing.
yes. Well, I think that's a very typical Asian family.
Yeah.
So
Culture.
my
Sure.
my
Yeah.
mom wanted to call, but she couldn't speak much English, so she asked my brother to call, and I couldn't speak much
I
English.
do have to say, your mom is my hero because at school, often at George Brown, when we speak, we're often wondering what parents would encourage because most of the parents are like, jewelry program? Are you sure you want to go to a jewelry program? Like, you should study something else. So the fact that your mom was actually looking out and persistent, that's a good mother. That's
Yes, I think so. But you know how a typical Asian parent, they like their kids to study engineering,
engineering, doctors,
doctors,
lawyers. Yeah,
lawyers,
I come from
accountants.
that part of
So
the
those
stuff.
are the jobs will give you security.
Yes.
But so my mom thought, okay, I was at vocational high school, had military service that she didn't think was gonna benefit anything.
Right,
Uh, so what should I do? And so she said, okay, go check this out. Maybe you can make jewelry and make lots of money.
right.
So that was the
That was her
one
contribution to the
one
mission.
reason behind her thinking,
Right.
not knowing that I wasn't going to make commercial jewelry.
Anyway.
It's not my interest of making anything
Yeah, sure.
bling necessary all the time. So she got disappointed a little later after I graduated, even though I was so happy. I love the program. So that was my sort of kind of over the years. I gained even more knowledge and interest in metal. I want to do something metal related, so that was great. I was able to sign up and knew about the program. So coming from Taiwan, I was here. When I was 18, I was in military. So before that, I studied industrial sheet metal work.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah,
was gonna ask. So that was
yes,
in Taiwan, right?
that was in Taiwan. So 3 years, I was in a sheet metal training team
Wow.
to
Okay.
prepare for competition. It was very strict training we had to make our own tools.
Oh wow.
We practice every
Oh, so
day.
that's where you get all the tool making
This,
again.
yeah, the knowledge,
The
the
knowledge.
the
Yeah, yeah.
approach that was then a high school, vocational high school. It's not something really respected program then in Taiwan because it was vocational school. It was not academic. Most of the parents they want their
Sure.
kids to go to,
Yeah, definitely.
for example, like collegiate, like it
Yes.
with the terms that you study books, you
Yes.
don't use your hands to make things.
Sure.
Because in Taiwan, we have a nickname for people working with their hands. It's called
Yes.
black hands.
It's
Black
very,
hands.
yeah.
Your hands are always dirty. You're not a academic. You're not a scholar, and so people who use their brain to uh, have work on their jobs and make
Yeah,
money,
sure.
it was much more respected. So, but that I was so happy. Just I was able to make things when I
Make
was in high school.
yeah.
Always wanted to make things on the side, which my program was very nice. The teachers allow us to stay after school and use the materials and tools, equipment to make our own things. So we were able to learn and
Really learn and
explore.
engage with, yeah, tool
Yeah.
making. Yeah.
So between age, I believe that was 14 to 17 around.
Okay.
Yeah. And then before that, it was junior high school. I was also interested in making things. The crafts class is always my favorite.
Sure.
So 3 hours per week, I was very happy just in the wood shop using tools and materials.
Yeah.
And then after that, there was military service. It was I still had nightmares about military even after many years. It
Yeah,
was
because there's only a few countries that have mandatory military service. Iran's one of them. So I know I didn't attend my military service because I left before and I came to
Mhm.
Canada, but I hear horrific stories like people saying that they still have nightmares. It's not an easy thing to do. So and how long was yours? Was it 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah.
I had to take a draw at the local at the office where they had the draft, and
Yeah.
then so there were mostly 3 year service. I was lucky; I got
Oh
the
my
two
God,
year
yeah. Because
service, and later recruited by the military police because they did a background check
right.
of my family and said, okay, your family they're very loyal family. My dad served in the Navy. My
Okay.
grandfather was an army officer and belonged to the party. So it was all if my family was all belonged to the same party, which is
Right. Okay. So okay.
the same
That's
party
interesting.
as the
Okay.
ruling party, then yes, you're eligible for military police service.
Okay.
So that was then, and then I came here and then studied the jewelry program.
Okay.
Yes,
And that was you did the was the jewelry arts program in effect back then? So the 3 years?
jewelry arts. I cannot remember if there were any 2 year program or 1 year program. It was a jewelry arts
It was
program.
just jewelry arts. So the okay.
There could have been there was gemology, there
Okay.
was jewelry arts. There might have been something like industry skills or 2 year program, but I cannot remember if for sure there was. But I just remember the program was very small, and we had so the 32 people intake the first year.
Definitely much smaller than now. We have
Yeah,
90 students this year. So it's
how
three
many?
times 90, 90.
90 students. So second year was down to 20, maybe 25, 24. Third year even
That's
less,
good size.
down in sizes. I think the approach then was to create was in my opinion a very focused approach. If they want you to understand what the program is like,
Yeah, sure.
what, to be able to uh, pursue it as a career. So the mental preparation, skill training was in a way that it's not trying to discourage you, but to tell you that if you can't perform,
Perform properly.
maybe you need to seek other options.
Sure.
Uh, Dexterity was one thing, patience, dedication. I remember when I was at the program, I was pretty much the first person to arrive at school for a good part of the 3 year program. Uh, Technician was there around 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
So during the second year, I remember I was there a lot of times waiting for technicians to open the studio
The
door
open studios.
because class starts at 9, started
Dedication.
at 9. So I figure I will have 1 hour before my class to work on my
You
projects.
work on your projects. Yes, that's
I didn't have a studio at home.
student.
So I was living with my parents at the time. So that was also, in a way, I have to say, appreciate my family support. I didn't have to have a part-time job,
Sure.
support myself.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
very
able to
important.
focus,
Yeah.
and also took a student loan. So I had money to spend
Oh,
on
yeah.
materials, on some tools, so that I was able to focus on studies. And after 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, before night school
Right, because then
begins, so most of the time, the technician, studio monitor will ask everybody to leave. Right, you cannot stay when night school, but I always beg night school teachers to let me stay. So I was able to stay until 10
oh wow.
p.m. And
I,
then, so I knew all the night school teachers. So I said, do you want me to move to a different bench? Most of the time, the teachers from night school, no, Shao, we want to see what you're working on. In fact, just stay where you are. So I was very fortunate. So I became friends with all the night school teachers
that's great.
that during the school years, and able to come going at 8 a.m. and finish at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
less the lunch break and dinner breaks, occasional coffee breaks. It's funny because I have to say my English was very poor, so I was so shy to go out to hang out with
Okay.
fellow students in the class. So I was always there sitting at the bench working quietly because of the language barrier.
Language barriers. Yeah, sure.
No socializing.
Yeah.
People gone outside having coffee, tea, cigarette breaks, but I
Right.
was just there working, and so it was quite interesting. Quite interesting. And also there was no digital tools.
Tools. Yeah.
We
So
don't
yeah.
no cell phones.
Yeah.
But this so
Which
people
was a
didn't have
great benefit.
great benefit. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. I had to tell you, I was able to get to the library and sign out all the magazines, jewelry related magazines, fashion related magazines, to read, and books. So I spent a great deal of time at the library reading it, reading the books and magazines, and no distraction. Just you see, you want to read any topic, you're just reading it. There's no pop-up screens giving you suggestions, this and that. All those distraction, I call it noise right there. And
100%
then,
agree with you. Yeah, because we also that library at George Brown, to my knowledge, honestly, it's one of the best jewelry libraries I've ever seen out of all places that I've visited. There is an enormous amount of knowledge that are in those books, but
yeah.
they don't get, I think Andre is here right now. I saw his name. One of my students, Andre, he's I think the only person you met Andre. He's the only person that
Yes,
really I see him take
yes,
full advantage of that. Because a lot of people I find now they just refer to their phones for you know, information or
yes,
looking at videos and things
yes,
versus and what you said was when you were looking at books, there was very little distractions.
yes.
This thing is like you go on it and then you go on a rabbit hole
I
and then
know
an hour later you just don't even remember what you were doing.
exactly.
The book that you were just immersed into the book.
Yes, I think it has its own uh, advantages that
Yeah, for
all
sure.
the
Like
distraction.
everything. Yeah.
I think, especially when I was a student during the learning years, that was amazing. That I was able to stay focused on
Hmm.
what I wanted to learn and to know about. Of course, digital tools are handy. You could just get on it and then get information right away, instantaneously. But another issue is that you wouldn't be able to memorize the same way as you are reading a
Yes.
book.
Correct.
Reading a book, you have a stream of thoughts you follow, your brain is able to register to learn much better. Instead of almost like a soundbite, a pop-up. I want to know the melting temperature of copper
Right.
or certain alloy. It's
Yeah.
convenient. You find you can just Google it. You
Yeah.
find information. But
Sure.
then there's 1,000 other things also pop up at the same
Right.
time.
Yes.
First, what sometimes it was the ads asking you, oh, you're interested in copper. You're interested
Yeah,
in
exactly. And then,
anything related will come up and trying to sell you things. So that's a great distraction. And then you forgot, oh, this looks interesting. Maybe I don't need to know that. Maybe this
yeah.
is interesting. And you forgot you're here to look for copper melting
Well,
temperature.
that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So much, much better, much focus. I think, especially if you really want to stay focused, I think, especially during the learning stage, I think at the beginning, your foundation time. When I taught at OCAD for many years as well, and I couldn't believe how many students were on their phones when we had a studio course, silversmithing. And it's like this is I call it precious studio time.
Yeah.
You need to utilize the resources. There's put you know everything. You pay the tuition. You want to be there, and I wasn't there all the time. And if there's someone here able to answer your question, that you don't have to watch YouTube video. Besides, we don't know the reliability of those information. That's why you're here at school.
Yeah.
You learn the way that it's a structured, has a good knowledge base, and it's not arguable. Oh, every artist has different ways of doing things. There are times that you just have to find the most effective methods. That's what we as educators are there
Hmm.
for,
I'm,
right?
I'm I'm smiling like this because this what you're saying is like music to my ears. I'm like, I'm gonna cut this part of the interview and post it on school at the first day of school because it's became an issue. We were talking about it,
Yeah,
unfortunately. The amount of phones and iPads that are on benches
yeah.
while people are working is I can't even sometimes listen to music when I'm working.
No,
Like I need to be fully
yes,
focused. Like any
right.
distraction would, because I also am very distracted generally. But like people watch shows and polish at the same time.
That's no.
And I honestly can't even digest how that's possible because it's such a sensitive in terms of that all of your senses have to be at work, from your eyes to your ears to your feel, touch, everything. So if one or two senses are gone, then if you're watching a video and listening to it and then also trying to set a stone or polish, I don't know, for me it's a very distracting way to work, but
No,
a
yes, right.
lot of students are doing that now.
There are things that you could explain that in my work is that you have muscle memory. You've done it for 10, 20 years. There are certain tasks you could do it
Yeah, sure. But
naturally.
once you've done it for a certain amount of years, right?
Yes.
Not when
Yeah.
you're that precious studio time.
Yeah.
It's
And
where
then,
you're learning.
yes. And then there's no such thing as multitasking because it's being studied.
I've always had a problem with that term,
Yeah.
because I was never able to multitask, and the thought of multitasking never made sense to me because you're just not
Yeah.
finishing one task, you're multitasking. But
Yes.
anyway,
And it's scientifically proven that there's no such, you
oh
can,
yeah,
the way as humans, we're just switching back and forth.
okay,
You're simply, maybe
makes
you
a lot of
don't, people
sense.
don't notice as much, but the brain is constantly, if you call it top multitasking, is basically the brain is switching back and forth
Right. Yeah.
at
Okay, it makes
for your
sense.
focus, and which means there is a lot of distraction,
Yep.
where you're focusing on one thing and doing one thing at a time, and you do it right and less prone to have accidents, whether be it your physical accidents or your work
Yep.
being damaged because something. I
Yep.
need to be hyper focused. I always prepare myself for important tasks uh, in terms of fabrication, whether be it jewelry fabrication or industrial components and or prototypes and all the other types of work. So I need to be focused in doing things. I need to just so that I don't have to experience the mistakes and
Right.
which also happen. You learn through mistakes, but I want to reduce the kind of time so that I can have a good result in my work
Sure.
and predictable outcome
Yeah.
coming through focus and also experience.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So let's move on to the presentation. I'm going
And
to,
you can hold on.
can we see?
Yeah.
This is earlier work. I believe this was when I was in third year at Georgetown
At
College.
Georgetown, right.
So there was supposedly a production jewelry themed because I wanted to participate the Christmas sale, I think.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
So, and third year students were allowed to apply as well, I believe, at the time. Although it was started when students were in their second year. So
Okay.
I participated in the second year. I think it was part of the project we needed to do as a production. So third year I think was interested as well.
Right.
And so this was part of the production, which is a time-consuming production piece I made. It's a tie clip. I also made a brooch.
So this was a tie clip though.
This was a tie
Did you
clip.
also make the mechanism, Shao?
I did. I
Okay.
did.
Yeah, knowing you,
So
I was like, I know that he made every single piece in there from scratch. And the end caps are gold, right?
the end caps are gold in 14 karat gold.
Okay.
Then the tie clip part I carved in wax and cast.
Pass. Okay.
And then I found some dental spring steel wire.
Right. That's what it
I
was.
made a spring
Okay.
and the arm that supports the clip, I just simply solder to the tube that has holes drilled. That the tube was made by hand, and then holes were drilled one by one. As you can see, some of them they are not lined up. They have suppose the idea behind it was a radiator. That's also new, like a nuclear kind of fantasy of a radiator that has a color in it. So that you can see the color inside was niobium wire. Niobium wire made a
Okay,
coil.
that's what I was gonna ask, but they're all different colors too, right?
Yes,
It's
so it was
okay.
anodized.
Okay, anodized, right, right.
Anodized niobium, so was able to change the color by pulling the coil out of the bath electrolyte
Okay.
very slowly, gradually, and then I changed the voltage dial as I was taking it out of the bath. So
As we're taking it out?
yes, as
Oh,
I was
wow.
taking it out, so the highest voltage is on the top. You can see the yellow
The
green,
yellow, okay, yeah.
and then the lowest part is purple and pink. So
Yes.
that was around for niobium, the voltage range is higher. So that was perhaps between 40 volts and up there was about close to 100 volts DC. So
Okay.
you're able to change the color by taking the coil out slowly from the bath. And so that's how I did it. And then assembled with so basically there's a core, there's a steel, sorry, it's a sterling silver wire
Okay.
going
Okay.
through and riveted together with the titanium end cap, the titanium ends. So basically the silver wire secures the titanium, you can call it a washer, and everything was mechanically assembled. So there's no,
Assembled, right.
so that you could maintain the colors because you don't want to solder
Exactly.
together after
Yeah.
you anodize a piece. So outside the casing with the holes drill, that's sterling silver. Okay, I'll move on to the next slide.
Wait.
So this ring was made probably in the 2000, maybe around 20 years ago. So it's sterling silver and the top, I call it cosmos. It's like different planets. You can look into the sky or imaginary universe with all the planets. And so it spins, the top part spins. It's kinetic. So we can, two layers. So this was formed with a partially hydraulic press. So I
Right.
made eyes to conform the part that spins, and it's in two layers. So this was actually a test piece. So inside the yellow part is brass.
Oh, okay.
And the brass layer is from underneath, basically behind the silver part. But with a hydraulic press with polyurethane
Sure.
behind it, so it pushes the brass. It was a flat piece,
Okay.
but then the rubber pushes through the openings of the silver part. So you can see all the little domes coming through. That was pushed from behind with polyurethane that is set in the die. So I made a die on the lathe, and then assembled together. And there's a lot of
Oh, on the lathe. So you made the die on the lathe and then you use the
yes, and then I use that die. Basically, it's a cone shape. Basically, it's like a cone shape die, and I put the silver disc already cut on top of it,
on top of it, right?
then conform with basically hockey puck and to create the forms. It's a little more complicated than
Then yes,
what's
that is
been mentioned, but that was the idea.
yes.
And then made the screw nuts and bolts assembled together. So to secure the brass piece and the silver piece, I made another piece behind it, which is a convex piece behind it to push the brass piece towards against the front part and
Right.
secure together with a hollow nut, hollow screw, so
Okay.
that I could use another screw to secure to the ring, and the whole thing spins that way. The multiple layers of problem solving,
I know.
figuring out how to
Yes,
put it
exactly.
together without using any heat to affect the result. Cold joints, and there's machining, there is fabrication. The sphere was made basically in a dapping block and soldered together, so it's hollow. It's not very heavy. It's a lightweight piece. Okay, going to the next slide.
Oh yes, I remember this.
Is that the third? Yes. So this is a bracelet that I made around 2000. Multiple links of the same components and
Yes.
pinched together. So each component was cast, but the mold was made from a fabricated piece. So the
Right.
water drop was carved from a solid wire, maybe 3 mm wire,
Oh.
and file it to the shape, and then slicing half, but basically you file the bottom flat, you file one half away, and then I put a pin behind it and solder to a flat piece of metal,
Oh my
square
God.
piece of metal.
Yes.
I soldered it, but I soldered from behind, so because the water drop has a pin going through
Okay.
the metal, so it's able to stay in position.
Input. Okay. Right.
Yeah, and then if I solder from behind, the solder will follow the pin
Sure.
and
And so,
sweat
yeah.
the underside, so there's no clean up. Pretty messy if you
Right.
solder next to the water drop. So and then I put the frame over, solder together, trim it, made it a square, and then I made a mold from it, rubber mold, and then
Then you
I had
just
multiples made.
okay.
And the hinges were actually built one by one, because the cast hinges are not, at least to best of my knowledge, I was using rubber molds. The cast hinges were not accurate to fit together because the
Oh,
clean
okay.
it becomes too loose. So I
Yeah.
wanted to be very accurate with a minimum tolerance. So each tube was soldered to the
Right.
cast piece with a cradle that are cut on the backside. So the tube sitting in the cradle with a special jig made of titanium to space them apart. So they're precise after soldering.
Great. Oh yes, this is my
It's a ring.
favorite.
It's a citrine
Yeah,
and silver, palladium silver. This silver has 3 to 5% palladium in it. Was supplied by Stoller,
right.
USA. I was interested in experimenting different types of alloys in terms of other than gold and platinum. And
Sure. Because for setting something like this, you do want that a bit of a resistancy, right? Because if you just
yes,
do it in sterling silver, it's not going to work out as well as this has.
I
Correct?
think yes, I think my top concern was the hardness of the silver.
Of the silver, sure.
The continent, as they call, I think that's what they call it. Continent silver has superior strength and hardness, almost like 10 or 14 karat gold,
Right.
which
Okay.
is
It's good.
my file was worn when I was trying to file all those rectangular openings.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
that tells me that the metal was tough, was hard. If my Swiss file was worn, which I was very happy with the turnout. And you are able to weld and fuse in case if there was any cast defects. So this piece, because of the thickness in certain areas, it was very thick. So during the casting, because it's a palladium alloy, silver palladium alloy, and the contraction rate is different than sterling silver. So I had some porosities in the thick section, but I was able to basically weld and repair. You could do it with a sterling silver. It's a little demanding, but
Yeah, sure.
without using solder, to fill the pits, minor imperfections, you could weld it. So I weld and repair the casting and then final finish. So this was carved from wax. I used purple wax. I carved, and the channel was cut. Perhaps was partially cut on a milling machine, so it was perfectly level.
Right. Great.
And then I set the channel, set the citrine. It's a large piece. It's not a light ring, but it's I call
Yeah,
it
it looks a bit heavier
yeah,
on yeah.
I call it micro architecture.
I love it. Yes, it is a microarchitecture.
Yes. So this ring is titanium with blue topaz.
Yes.
So the titanium part was machined from a solid titanium bar, and cut the I cut the seat for the setting on the lathe, and then I texture the rest of the ring.
I love the texture. I told you last time too.
Yes, yes, it's actually a cutting disc,
Yeah.
very aggressive separating disc.
Yeah.
Yeah, titanium, uh, the heat builds up very quickly when you use the whole ring get hot. You have to put it in the ring clamp before you burn yourself.
Yeah, because it's a yeah.
It's a poor heat conductor,
Yeah,
titanium. Yes, it's tough, but it's not very hard. Toughness is great
sure.
uh, for making jewelry. Hardness is quite acceptable for our tools, just jewelry making tools. You can manipulate and form the titanium.
The titanium.
So the setting again was cut on a lathe and then assembled to the ring with basically a tube rivet from the inside.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
setting
because you
fit
can't really solder, right?
no solder. There's
Yeah.
no, it's all mechanical.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a riveted joint. And then I set the topaz afterwards. So this one, same idea,
Oh
but since
God, so nice.
it's titanium, so I could anodize the whole ring.
Right.
Yeah. So I use vinegar as the
Oh,
bath
oh, wow.
to anode. You could use Coca-Cola, you could use
I'm taking
water.
lots of notes today. I really am.
Vinegar is quite nice. Vinegar is quite nice. You can use
I had no idea. I'm not very experienced with anodizing,
right.
so this is like magic to me.
Yeah. You can use dishwashing liquid as well.
Okay.
Anything that you could be a good conductor.
I just love
Coca-Cola,
that blue and the texture and that stone and everything. It's a perfect ring.
yes, and then put color contrast, put this.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Yes.
So this one is a combination of sterling silver and titanium, same
Titanium.
texture. So I was quite interested in texture. So the joints is sterling silver, but hand texture with a diamond bit,
Yeah,
a diamond burr. So
sure.
basically making swirls by hand, not
Oh,
on.
so you're making swirls. That's why, because I was like, I've
Yeah,
never been able to do that
right.
with a diamond burr.
You use a
Oh,
diamond burr, you simply put it in a pin vise, not in the handpiece with a flat shaft. So you use your
oh,
hand. So this way you're able to control
stop it. Okay.
very nicely.
All right. Shall
Of
we?
power tools sometimes is too aggressive and too fast.
Yeah, because I always have a big problem with the diamond burrs because the texture they leave is not I don't know, I don't love it, but this is
No, this is a diamond burr.
I'm trying
Basically,
it right now.
it's a cheap diamond burr. I think I perhaps from Lee Valley Tools or something like that. BZB Tools had a bunch of diamond burrs. So hey, let's experiment because you could bring highly polished silver part, or I could use sandblasting, or I could use scrubbing pad, 3M scrubbing pad, or emery paper. But I thought I should experiment with diamond bits, and so that's the result of the contrast. So the titanium part again was hand cut, but it's a tubing, so the inside is hollow and riveted together with silver rivets. I don't know if you can see on the lower side, because on the white background, you could see
Yes.
the silver wire. I was using different alloy. I
Wait,
did,
on the oh
you can
right.
see vaguely on the lower side because
Yes.
it's sitting on the white paper. You can see
Yes.
the silver rivet, it's silver slightly yellowish,
Yes, I see.
going through the titanium and then counter sinking rivets. And then file it off and then put the texture on it. There's a different alloy of silver. I didn't realize. Let's see, the color slightly different. Yeah.
Oh my God, Shao, I just tried that and I love it. Thank you. This
Yes.
is great.
This is a titanium bangle. So hollow construction, same texture. It's interesting when I am interested in something, I am almost in a way obsessed with it. I wanted to make more to see what else I could apply this technique to. So every project is not a short-term kind of experiment. A lot of these pieces, they take a long time to make. So by the time I get to texturing, is usually a few days later because the forming and
Yeah,
fitting.
makes
Once
sense.
the bangle has the outside, which is conformed in the die that I made on the lathe. It's a steel die, and and the inside is also conformed with basically a large flaring tool
Right.
on a hydraulic press. So after the pressing, you could still see a seam. So what I did was I hammered it with a cross pin riveting hammer
Okay.
to hammer down towards the outside from the inside. So the inside is slightly taller, basically, and hammer down and then file afterwards, and then emery and finish, and put the texture on the bangle. That's the large bangle. It's about maybe 75 millimeters outside diameter. And there's a lot of surface area. It's very wide. It's about between 22 and 24 millimeter in width. So to cover the whole piece with the texture, it took hours. I can't remember exactly. Maybe it was 5 hours nonstop. Just kept going because you have to switch the blade because it gets warm. So back and forth. 5 to 6 hours, I think they took to make the texture. And then polish and then anodize. This is a longish process.
It's a long process, yes, of course.
To make
But the color is stunning. The color and the texture together. It just looks like, I think I told you last time too. It looks like the scale, like sorry, snake skin, you know? Like it's very
Yes.
textural. I love it. I just learned a few things that I'm going to transfer to my students.
This is a 14 karat gold stackable rings. I'm interested in making something with gold.
Yes.
Color combination, very simple flow. Wave is the same series as my wave series rings that I made for the production. So diamonds, sapphires, blue sapphires and pink sapphires. So I set gemstones. Okay.
And you did the settings yourself, correct?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
This is a pendant. It's a necklace.
Right.
Stainless steel and the aircraft stainless steel cable. So it's put together. This is the dental wire, which was a thicker gauge than the one I used for my tie clip spring.
Oh, sure.
So it's the same kind of dental wire. Is a type 316. They are tough and they are flexible and tarnish, of course, rust resisting, suitable for main jewelry pieces.
Shao, is it the same wire going through the whole thing, or is it two different parts?
So there is a wire in the center to keep everything together.
Oh, okay.
The top and bottom caps, they have grooves cut, like a channel cut on the top and the bottom. You can see those two thinner rings on the top.
Yes.
And so I fit the wire inside. I have to count, make sure the wire fit in without any space. So it took a while to figure out that the wire sitting inside nicely. And then I put another wire through the center with threads. And the end cap has threads inside as well. So basically it's a nut and tightened together and kept all the wire together in those two little cups. And so the center ring in the middle, that is a separating ring that has holes drilled.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so the holes were drilled on a dividing head, which is just a mechanical device that divides circle into different parts.
Sorry, what was it called again?
Dividing head or index, or yes, I think it's called a dividing head.
Okay.
I had a dividing head. It's just a manual. You can get it. You can get the digital ones with a CNC with division calculates by itself. There's a smaller version that's made by Shoreline lathes. So Shoreline America, yeah, Shoreline USA. They also have the mechanical ones. It's the same idea as the gem setter use they have a division tool as well. Same idea, but this is just larger. You divide into any division you want, and then you can drill holes.
Right.
You have a milling machine or a lathe, you could do the drilling on the milling machine. And so separate the wires. So it's like a cage. And it spins, actually. So that's
what I was gonna ask. So yeah, okay.
The top is a cable that goes through, and then it has a washer inside.
Okay, there's a washer. That's right.
Yeah, so it spins.
Well, okay.
Actually, a scarf clip.
Yeah, it's a scarf.
So the bar goes up and down, and so you can secure thick scarf material
Right.
because you don't necessarily want to put a pin through a
Yes.
thick scarf. Some people like thick
Mhm.
scarves. So I was inspired by a friend of mine. She loved heavy scarves, sometimes fur scarves,
Right.
but she needs to walk with a cane in her hand. So always only one hand available. And if you're not wearing a coat, the scarf
Yes.
separates,
Yes.
going
Exactly.
out sideways. So we were out for dinner one evening years ago. So she kept pulling the scarf together over. You don't want to wrap around your neck. That's too heavy. So she kept pulling because she was a bit cold. She wanted to chill. She wanted to put the scarf together. She just kept separating.
Mhm.
So after I didn't tell her I was going to design this, and so I designed it
That's
and
nice.
made it the two different versions. So I made it for her. This is the second version of the scarf clip. The weight is sterling silver, stainless steel. It has a friction tool on the side, so
Oh,
the
okay.
stainless steel bar moves up and down, so it wouldn't go completely free because there's a friction pad pushing against the stainless steel rod on the side, which in the next slide it might show. So this one here, you can see the inside here is a
Yes.
friction pad that with a screw with a lighter spring,
Oh, okay.
a
So
spring from a
that's
lighter
creating
will give it the compression
the
to
tension.
secure the stainless steel bar.
Okay.
So this is a hollow construction, a couple layers of silver put together of this L-shaped part. So
Right.
structurally sound, and the finished weight, this one here, I believe is only 97 grams.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Very light. Try
I
to
was
use
thinking this is heavy, but no,
no
that's not that bad.
hollowware. I think you can use thin gauge material but create volume and high strength. So I was interested in hydraulic forming. So this is not necessarily hydraulic form. This was all hand fabricated
Yeah,
part.
that's why I really appreciate your
If
workshop. I
yeah,
think all of us do with especially your cold connections are always so what's the right word I'm looking for? They're almost mesmerizing. And
right.
I love I love soldering. I'm a huge soldering fan, but like once I see cold connections like this, it requires multiple steps and precision. It's something to definitely appreciate.
Yes,
Yeah, I love that. That's great. And the
yes,
fact that it's only 97 grams, that's
yes. It's pretty. I'm interested in yeah. I'm interested in hollowware making. So it's a thick scarf and kept together. So
fascinating.
as well, it's a jewelry piece.
Yeah.
You could wear it as it's a functional and then decorative.
Yeah, exactly. Like because your work is also very architectural, so I just there's a there's a
Yes.
similarity in all your work.
So this is a hollowware piece. First year at George Brown College. Towards the second end of second semester, I had about a week and a half left time. I finished all my assignment.
You were that student.
I finished already had about a week and a half left, and I wanted to do something else. So I signed out some metal. I had this idea of making a perfume bottle, hollowware. So I
Wow.
was great. At the time, the office teachers approved letting me signing out some metals, and
Of course.
I was making a perfume bottle.
Shao, is the cap, is that also silver or is that
Yeah, it's the whole
glass?
thing silver.
Oh,
So
the
this
whole
one
thing is
silver, sterling silver, the hollow construction, conical shape with the spheres joined together.
it's fascinating.
There's a lot of side story of this piece. When I took it to Toronto Outdoor Art Exhibition, then
Yeah.
in 96, might have been 94, 95, 95.
Right.
I was a patron of the arts, was very interested in my work that she really loved to sponsor me, but I declined.
Oh,
Yeah, I declined her offer. It was a very intriguing offer. but because my dad was ill then, so I wanted to spend more time with the family. I didn't want to
Oh, okay.
dedicate myself full time as an artist. So I wanted to spend time with my dad. So I declined the offer. She came back two other times, but I also declined. I might have ended up at a different place if I say yes then, but this is the path I chose
You
and I'm
chose, yeah.
very happy with it. Okay.
But these are the salt and pepper shakers, right?
Salt and pepper shakers I made when I was in the third year.
I love these.
So this is hydraulic deep draw forming.
Wow.
So the dies were made of steel.
Okay.
So I was using a grinder, grinding solid blocks of steel, making into the shape of salt and pepper shakers in the silversmithing room.
Right.
And people were commenting, was it, Shao-Pin's going crazy in the silversmithing room. Don't go in. Don't go in. Don't go inside. The sparks flying everywhere. I was using a disc grinder I brought from home. Well, technician didn't stop me then. Or maybe it was the grinding after they left. It was so loud, it was crazy. I made it at school. It took a long time to figure out. I almost ran out of time to make this. It took about 4 weeks. I thought I couldn't figure out how to do it because my teachers couldn't answer my questions. So I had to go to National Reference Library on Yonge Street to read some of the books about sheet metal forming, conforming, and so I got some ideas, and then eventually I figured it out. I also blew up one hydraulic urethane cylinder.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know if it's probably being thrown away because it was, it was, I had my goggles on, I had all safety gear, it's fine. And then because the pressure was so high and
Right.
one of the cylinder blew up
Oh
sideways,
my
but
God.
the polyurethane was in the center, so it locked the broken cylinder in place. It didn't
Oh,
fly
wow.
anywhere else. But it was just a loud gunshot. It was so loud. And
Oh my God. That's one of my biggest fears when I'm working with the hydraulic press. I'm always because people warn you about these things.
yeah,
Um, but I've
must
never
have.
seen it happen. So now that you explained it visually, it's even gonna be more petrifying. But I
Yeah, but
will.
then I was using full force. I was using 20-ton
Yes.
make conforming these pieces.
Mm.
Uh, so that happened. So I built my own dies and then brought to school. I
Oh,
use 4 times the thickness of the metal. I built another ring for polyurethane. So it was fine. Oh,
amazing.
again,
Great. Oh,
this is
okay. Sorry, go on.
this is again because of hydraulic forming. I was obsessed in making form. So this is again it's a spice shaker.
That's a beautiful form.
Thank you. Sterling silver with a 22 karat gold inlays. Here's
Right. I was just gonna ask if
yeah,
that's
yeah. And again, deep draw forming. The openings in the back, you can see a line over there. The tiny
oh,
line.
okay.
That's the opening.
Oh,
So
oh.
challenging the idea of spice shakers. Why cannot have the openings on the side if
On
I
the
would?
side, yeah, sure.
So that was on the side. So my friend circle took the photos. I cannot take credit of the wonderful photography. This was on a this was on a film camera.
Oh, okay. So that's
No
and the
digital
photo is
manipulation.
superb.
No digital manipulation. She
Wow.
took her about a day to set up the
To set
camera
up and get the perfect
and the
picture.
light to get a
Yeah, I
perfect
really I love
a,
the photo. It's a great
a,
photo.
a full day. It's so unbelievable.
Amazing. Yeah, you're really inspiring me back because I haven't really touched a hydraulic press in a while, but
Right.
really inspired now.
So
Oh, and
perfume
this is
bottle.
the
So
next
this,
model. Yes.
yeah. So the last couple of pieces, this was outside of George Brown. I left George Brown. There was a Harbourfront Center,
Yes, sure.
jewelry studio. So these were made. So collaborated. I asking if I could use some glass from the glass studio. So my friend
Yes.
Brad Sherwood helped me getting that glass drop from
That's
the
amazing.
furnace. And then so I ground the glass and sandblast to create the texture. The bottom part of the glass was still polished.
Right.
And then I created a hemisphere. I put some glue inside. The glue is very unique. It's called UV glue.
Right.
So
You told me that last.
yeah,
Yes.
so it sets in the with the UV light. So simply exposed to sunlight. It was set in seconds. So that's a perfume bottle.
Fascinating. It's good that's a really good thing about Harbor Fund is that you could use all the resources there.
Yes, that was great.
Great things like
So
that.
hydraulic, so along hydraulic press forming, this is a sugar dispenser.
Okay, yes.
So sterling silver, sandblasted acrylic.
Yes.
So the top opens. So this has threads in here. So when you open,
Okay.
and you have it upside down, the sugar comes out like a waterfall through the tiny little gap right there.
Oh.
It falls out.
So you have to hold it upside down and then you
Yes,
oh my God, I
yes.
love that. I
For the
didn't
sugar,
okay,
for a
okay.
lot of sugar.
For a lot of sugar, yeah, but for people who like sweet things. This is
Yeah.
amazing. And then
Thank you.
the bottom is curved, right? So it could
Yeah.
just sort of that's
Yes. Yeah.
classic.
Yeah.
Love this piece.
Doing that again.
Great.
Light
Wow.
switch cover plates, again, hydraulic form. So architectural hardware. I was interested. So I built the
Chow, I forgot to ask you last time, is that a gemstone for the actual light switch?
no, it's brass.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
brass knob.
Yeah, because the reflection kind of looks like
It could be gemstone.
it could
I
be like a
know. It looks
gold
like a
order or
setting right
something. Yeah,
there.
yeah.
A black, maybe onyx. It could be. It could be. That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah.
So I made a switch and then I made the cover plate. I put together, spray painted the toggle in silver color. I brought to my photographer, Circle. Circle said, I'm not taking a photo because this ugly toggle switch. You must do something about it before I can take any picture. So I brought everything over. So, and then I had to take this piece back and figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
She said, I don't know what you do. You have to just be creative, do something about it. So I cut the toggle in half, cut away the top.
Right.
I made a brass piece and then I screwed it on and I brought it back.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't even paying. The funny thing is I wasn't even paying my photographer. And then she was giving me all this demanding, because the reason why she didn't accept any of my money was, first thing she really enjoyed her photography.
Okay.
Doing photography is so challenging because you could nowhere to hide the camera. You can barely see the camera was there on the bottom there, right, a little bit of there. But she was a professional photographer. So that's why she really enjoyed making photos, and this was an art to her, and she really enjoyed it. So she didn't want to charge me anything. I really appreciate to have friends like that. And
Yeah, of course. We all appreciate our photographer friends that are nice.
yes,
I do trades with my photographer friend.
yeah.
Oh wow, I haven't
This is
seen.
this is a later work. This is inspired later after I met my wife. She's a classical musician. She's plays viola. So her cellist friends said that
Oh,
their cellos often have to have the end pin tip sharpened very frequently because this is the spikes that coming through the cello on the bottom to support the cello
right.
because this is always on the ground.
That's what I was gonna. Cause so that's what metal is that? Is that
So this one here, so I made a special one. This is tungsten carbide,
right? Okay,
and then this is brass,
brass. Yeah.
and then this is titanium.
Okay.
So looking at the classical musicians' cello end pins, most of them have very generic machined
Yes.
ends.
Yes.
To
They
me,
do.
there are they don't fit with their beautiful cellos.
Yeah,
Someone spent months making the cello. Some cellos could took a long time to make. It has beautiful piece of art, and you have a not so nice looking cello end pin coming from the bottom.
sure.
So I thought I have to do something about it when I designed the cello end pin. So I redesigned the cello end pin so they look more interesting, more organic, to go along with the beautiful shapes of the instrument. So I came up with this design, and with the titanium, it in fact changes the sound production of the cello because of the material.
Of course. Well, that's what I was just wondering. And it's
Yes.
the person who appreciates these things to also,
Yeah.
like you're right, somebody spent months to make that cello,
Yeah.
and then the instrument that is, also very visible once it gets on it, also should be, it should dedicate the same amount of care.
Yes.
So that's great. I love these.
So this was 2005, 2006. I was into furniture. So my studio was at distillery.
Right. Yes.
So I decided, I was inspired because I took a workshop in France called Vitra Design Museum Workshop,
Okay.
south of France. So I was there meeting designers from different parts of the world, and it's a design workshop, architecture and design workshop. So I came home and I was inspired. I wanted to make chairs, but
Okay.
what should I do and what should I make? So that was a question before I started a lengthy process. So is my design gonna worth my time making? But I wouldn't know until I make it or I complete my work. So of course, you always have these questions and uncertainty when you start a project. So roughly, my estimate would be around hundreds of hours because all handmade.
Yeah, sure.
So you want to invest hundreds of hours without any income, basically dedicated into this one piece. The question was if it was worth it. Was it sensible? No, it probably wasn't sensible. If it's worthy, but we wouldn't tell until the work is done. But I decided to jump into it anyways. So it was pretty crazy. Everything was on Visa card.
Right. Of course.
Expensive.
Yes.
I stopped
As
teaching
it's-
because the studio was a mess covered with dust, aluminum dust, MDF, wood dust. So all made completed by hand except the sand casting. So I made the legs originally in MDF, medium density fiberboard, laminated, shaped it. I brought that's the original pattern to do a foundry, and they did sand casting, sand cast in aluminum, and I took the rough aluminum casting back. I started finishing, and then uh, all by hand. This was
The
not.
end results are fascinating. And it looks very comfortable, even by looking at it, to be honest.
It was, yeah. So I took it to New York for exhibition.
Oh,
Well,
right. Okay, yes.
yeah, in 2006, ICFF, International Contemporary Furniture Fair,
Okay.
and the year after 2007, I took it to Denmark, Copenhagen Furniture.
Oh, yeah.
It was a design. It's not. It was no longer there. It's no longer there. But it was a quite an interesting experience. Um, Doing trade fairs, international exhibitions, you get to hear what other people have to say about your work. You hear positive, you hear negative. Some people are you get to meet your audience.
Yes.
You get to meet architects, you get to meet designers, you get to meet consumers, you can educators, or just general public who are interested in the area. So that was a quite interesting experience. So I made it. This piece will cost approximately 350 hours
Wow.
in the end.
Wait, what time? Oh, we're at 12:17.
We'll have to move on.
And yeah, sure.
So this was in Denmark furniture fair. So I same idea, build a bench behind. You can see that's
Oh,
a
yeah, sure. At the table. Yeah.
bench.
You
Yeah.
have that at your studio, no?
No, no, no.
No.
I gave
Okay.
it to my in-laws. When we
Oh,
moved
okay.
to
That's nice.
Hamilton, our house was
That's
too
nice.
small. My in-laws, they have a nice house in Dundas, big they have a front hall, area. So they were sitting beautifully there and they love it. I called it this, so that piece was called the Flying Bridge. This is another chaise lounge with the same idea, see the leg? But
Yes.
it was about 500 hours of work. That one also about 400 or so hours.
Wow. That's crazy. But you know, like that's what I was talking about. You can see the similarities between these and your smaller pieces. They all
Yes.
have a very architectural feel to it. Um,
Yeah, so this is I call the Flying Bridge.
yes.
So Canadian red oak, and then this part was rectangular tubing. So I bought a hydraulic bender just for bending that, and then welded, miter and welded together, and supports in the center. And
Yes.
these are tension rods actually to hold it down. These rods are adjustable. The whole
Okay.
top is basically supported in the center, but then with the tension rods, like a
Okay.
tent. You draw it down. There are 16 of these planks put
Wow.
together. So all fabricated at the distillery. This was no casting. Everything was fabricated.
That's amazing.
See the wave underneath? This is I like this part. So this part is thinner to create a spring effect. So when you
Oh,
actually sitting at the end of the bench, this part actually flexes because the tension rods right here drop down.
oh, wow.
You can see the machine, the path. I welded and then machined it and put a bolt inside to secure. And
Amazing.
this is a table. So I built furniture. This was 2004, 2005.
Okay. And is that glass on top?
No, it's actually it's a screen.
Oh, it's screen, right. Okay.
It's a 134 mesh
Okay. Oh, wow.
screen. You can see here.
Very cool.
It's a screen from Ferrier. I think the Ferrier, I don't know if it's still around anymore, off Keele Street, Keele and St.
I
Clair.
don't think they're around. I don't know. I'm not sure.
They sell this is an industrial filter, type 304 stainless
Oh,
steel. So I
okay.
love the texture and then the
Yeah.
clearness you can see through. So I built a frame from channel steel from Dofasco, Canada,
Right.
from Hamilton. I built a custom size channel to withstand the tension that to draw the screen, stretch the screen. So basically nothing else is underneath, just the
Okay.
stainless steel screen,
Look at this.
134 mesh screen suspended. It
Beautiful.
was a great challenge. I love this kind of project.
Yeah, sure.
It drives me nuts, but
You're the man of challenges.
I
Yes.
love it. So here's a glory from the past. My
Yes.
studio, Golden Avenue, my bench, the red door still here. Well,
Yeah,
fortunately,
everyone.
red door.
Shao had this studio on Golden Avenue.
Yeah.
Like, how amazing is that?
On Golden Avenue, Corner Street was Silver Avenue. It's the
Silver
same
Avenue. I
chairs.
know.
There's
I
another
know.
chair right there. I made. I was crazy about making furniture. Then I
And
realized
for those of you who haven't had the pleasure of knowing Shao personally, he is exceptionally organized to no belief. Like if you, it's honestly, Shao, sometimes when I'm working at my studio and I turn around and I see my bench, I'm like, what would Shao think? And then I just get organized. Honestly, I get organized and then I start again. I've never seen anybody, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's essential part of what you do because everything requires so much precision and meticulousness that you can't just be unorganized and everything has to be
no,
um planned, right? And easy to grab. And I remember you told me once, you were like, people waste so much time on looking for things that if you're organized and if you could just go and grab the tool that you need from the place
yes,
that it is, it's a lot more
yeah.
smarter, right?
It, it, it it's the discipline. I think you have to see it as a
Discipline,
discipline.
exactly.
You
That's
need
it.
to see it as a discipline. Once you have that discipline, then you're able to go free.
That's it.
You free yourself, then you can do things. You can learn more things, acquire more skills and knowledge
Definitely.
and
Yes.
practice. And then so you are systematic, but then on the other side, you do want to have the emotional part, the freedom that you want to explore and be
Absolutely.
free to create artistic or art, artistic jewelry, artistic work or art. So
Definitely.
I do this. Oh, video. Okay, let's sit.
Video.
Where does an idea come from? does a piece of metal become art? What does it take to create?
That's fascinating. Honestly, I've seen your work so many times, but I still every time you share your work, it's fascinating.
I have to say I am passionate in my work. I think you have to be passionate.
Shao, thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
It was really, really fascinating. And I think, oh, that's what I was gonna ask you. You're teaching courses now too, right? You teach
I
courses
teach in Hamilton, yes.
in Hamilton. Yeah, so Shao is in
My
Hamilton.
studio. I don't go to Toronto anymore. It's traveling is a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. I mean,
there's a little need for me to go to Toronto.
actually, Jade is asking, where can we find information about classes in Hamilton?
Oh, yeah, if you can just contact me. I'm on Facebook. That's Messenger. You can find me there, Shao-Pin Chu. Or you can go on Instagram, is Silver Echo Studio. Silver Echo Studio, one word, that's me. The website's not really working. The website is in idle. I haven't had a chance. I have two little ones. I have two kids, and
Yes,
a lot of times been divided, but it's it's just the way it is. Your time's being
it's a
sucked up
given.
by
Yeah,
your children, but that's okay. That's what part of my life I
part
enjoy.
of your life now. Exactly.
Yeah, and the experience that brings to the work as well. You you learn everything from the decisions you make, and then the experience you have. We're shaped from our experience. I'm
Yes,
shaped. I'm here in Hamilton. I'm happy. I have room for breathing. For example, it's very important for artists that you need that. In a way, it's an incubator. Any ideas that takes time to grow, you have to have a peace of mind, to have space. You don't want to be so concerned about your rent. The
sure.
rent due, I am drowning, trying to catch up with my
Oh yeah,
expenses, my life commitment, because I have financial issues to solve. But your life goes away down this way. You spend
sure.
decided. So it's a matter of choice. We move to Hamilton. Our overheads way lower than was in Toronto.
In Toronto, yeah, sure. Well, that's
Toronto
again.
was going to be almost $5,000 a month between the studio and the apartment. So
Well, that's what's happening. A lot of artists are moving out of Toronto because of just that.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think a lot of times is also the timing, and also if I knew this wasn't going to change in anytime soon, my rent wasn't going to go down. I wasn't going to be able to find another studio space a lot cheaper. I have to move on. Then you have to cut when you know it's not good for you. You just have to do it. You cut that tie and then you move on. My wife was afraid of coming to Hamilton because you have to start over again. I was afraid because I would no clients and I moved to a new place. But you have to realize you're not just going there with nothing. You have your skill set. You can always make friends, make new connections, and explore the market or create your own market. And if you are unique, then which we all are, and you need to spend the energy on the focus area that you think is important. If making money is more important, by all means, you do production jewelry, but you cannot compete with offshore production that's faster, probably than any of us in North America.
sure.
So I want to spend my energy on creatives part of my work that's set myself away from the production jewelry. And so that is more significant. It has more intrinsic value
Yeah.
to what I do, not just dollar value. At the end of the day, you have to be
Sure.
happy. You know, you want to know that this is, you look at your piece, the piece you made in the past. Sometimes I have two kind of thoughts. One is, did I actually make that? I couldn't believe I made that.
Sure.
No, that's one thought. How did I put this together? So I was so excited. I want to have workshops, having people to come
Yeah.
and as well for me to revisit what I have done in the past. Did I actually thought about that?
Yeah.
That
Right.
you don't want to say that I was so smart. No,
Yeah.
I just thought, but it wasn't about being smart. It was actually layers and layers of problem solving I put in. It took me, and then when I thought back, it took me a long time to solve one problem and one issue that that didn't work. I'd love to share that with you if you have more time, or coming to Hamilton, visit my studio, organize a studio tour, and I'll
Yeah,
come
I'm
in and
really
we can.
interested. Maybe I have two more questions. Lizzie
Yes.
is asking, what's the best bench hack that you share with your students?
What is the best one?
Bench hack. Like, what's your, like, I just used this and it was great. I literally just did this as you were talking,
I have to have a workshop for that.
and I tried it
I
at the back of my
I know
ears.
I cannot tell you which one, but I have come up with quite a number of different ways doing things. I build and design my tools and
Yes,
equipment. I really love to, I can put a workshop together on bench hacks
I
for
think you
people to
should.
come and see what we do. First is tools. So what we have, how to refine our trade,
Honestly, that's an idea. I'm writing this
tools
down,
of the trade.
and then I'm coming back to Shao.
Yeah. Things
You
that
put
you buy
yourself
from
under that.
things you buy from stores, suppliers aren't always the best fit. So how are we gonna make it fit our needs? That's one thing. And then improve making tools and jigs that with a very simple equipment. I'm not gonna show you things that requires heavy duty equipment that I have, but things is possible at the bench that you could do, improve your efficiency, and even you can do things that otherwise you wouldn't be able to without using computers, CAD/CAM or Rhino or 3D printing. By the way, the only thing digital in my studio is I'll show you. The only thing, this is my studio in Hamilton.
Yes, we've been to the studio. Me and Andre actually went to the studio together. It's a beautiful studio. In a
So the only
beautiful
thing
building.
digital in the studio is this. The only thing digital.
Is that a CD player?
That's a CD player. That's all. That's analog. Okay, so nothing else in the studio is digital. I don't touch digital.
Yeah,
Tool.
Shao is a huge advocate of hands-on work, and that's why I have a lot of respect for him, because he never uses anything digital, no 3D printing, no 3D scanners, all the other things that are out there, laser cutters, all that. So it's he's a man of
I think it's important because there are benefits of digital tools, no doubt about it. But in terms of what we do, we're making art. We're not. I think of myself as a jewelry artist. I do make production jewelry, but
sure.
volume isn't always my concern, or speed isn't always my concern, because I want to have experience it all.
Yeah.
The making of it is an art. The process is part of a life. You look at a painting. Why do people want to collect artist work? Paintings, for example, is because it bears their life, and nothing else has, and is important and significant. So I think that's why I want to put into my work, and so that in the future, for myself, it's quite a nice fulfillment.
Yeah.
And in the future, when people see it, then they know that this piece bears the artist's life.
Sure.
And that is not
That's beautiful.
replaceable.
Really.
That's not replaceable by any digital tools. There's 3D printing. There's now, there's
You can do
AI.
anything now. You can
There's
literally do
AI.
anything.
You can combine AI with 3D printing. Then why are we here? Why are we here? You know, that's my bottom line question. If you replace ourselves,
That's a great question, to be honest. That's a great question, and not a
no,
lot
I
of people
think
are asking right now.
one of the most interesting quotes I learned from some of the books I read, there's quite a few of them, but one of them was from Sister Stanislaus Kennedy.
Mhm.
She was Irish. The book was called Gardening the Soul. Uh, she says something about life, something every day you have a quote that she came up with about your life. She says, "Take time to live. That's what life is for.
Yes, well,
You have to take time.
exactly.
You have to experience, and then you're more fulfilled. It's at the end of the day,
That's a great quote.
yeah, it's not about how fast you can pump up your jewelry pieces, how fast you can 3D print, how fast you can do this. I think especially with what we do, it's important that our work has value, has it bears our signature in the work.
Words of a wise man, everyone, really. Seriously. Hold on, I think there was one last question. And then, yes, Andre believes that it's also well said. I do agree. Oh, Jade is asking, in your travels, is there a place you found most inspiring to the evolution of your work? It's a good question.
I think I want to say Vitra Design Museum Workshop.
I'm sorry,
In,
where?
in Vitra, Vitra. So
Okay.
it has a great impact on my thinking and my work.
And where is Vitra? Is it?
Vitra is a contract commercial furniture manufacturer, but they have a chair museum. The chair
Oh,
museum is in Germany,
in Germany. Okay.
but close to the border of Switzerland. So
Okay. Okay.
I've been there visited when I was traveling in Europe. And then again, the time people didn't have cell phones and no digital tools. Everything was quite interesting to uh, to see, and then you have less distraction. So Vitra Design Museum workshop was in France because the director then bought a piece of land in France. So he gave it. He had a workshop. It was originally at the headquarters in Berlin, at a small tent right by their headquarters in Germany. And he decided, oh, this is too small. Let's expand this workshop. So he had this idea. So he gave the land to workshop,
Okay.
and originally for his mother, that he wanted mother to have a
Oh,
nice
right.
place in the country. But then his mom was too old to travel, so he said, okay, let's have this workshop. And Vitra is in Babouchet, in Poitiers.
Okay.
Poitiers, yeah, Poitiers is, excuse my French pronunciation, but Poitiers, south of France, I think it's about maybe an hour and a half from Paris by TGV.
Okay.
So it's very interesting. I think it's now 1,400 or 1,500 euro. You get to take workshop there, spend a week there. I think it's 6 days. You get to meet designers. You can meet architects, craftspeople. They have workshops about ceramics. They had the workshops about jewelry, but it's a very playful way of depending on the designers. So they invite designers to come and lead the workshops. And every year is different designers as a
I'm
workshop.
going to check it out. This sounds very intriguing.
Yes. So it is very interesting. I think
Okay.
that was one very important part that I enjoyed in the process. Another part in a subtle way was my military service.
Right.
I think that was
I was going to ask you. Yeah.
the discipline that's been.
Sure.
I grew up in a very strict family. My mom, you know, the Asian way of disciplining the kids.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
how I grew up. don't want to
Yes.
give you the details, but that's how it was. And then the military service was extra discipline. So
Discipline, yeah.
and then
It's interesting to hear that.
perseverance. I think patience. You really need to, if you had to believe in what you do. Like I almost gave up with the salt and pepper shakers when I was in third year because no one was able to help me, and I wasn't able to get. There was no YouTube videos to watch. I just had to figure it out myself.
Figure it out yourself, yeah. Well,
Took me almost 4 weeks.
back in the day, that's how you did it.
Eventually, I figured it out. I in fact, thinking about production, I brought them to Midland, to a company called IRDI, Industrial Research and Development Institute.
Right.
And the two engineers there saw my prototype. They asked me who made it for myself. These two engineers were sheet metal forming, deep draw forming specialists. They have contract with the GM Motors. They're with the General Motors.
Yeah.
And they have, I wanted to explore hydroforming because that was another area for small objects. Now you can have, you see hydroforming is used in bicycles and making cars. But then this was 2000. This was 25 years ago. I wanted to apply hydroforming in my work. And so they were pretty surprised to see my salt and pepper shakers that was made in my small shop with 30-ton press when they had this giant hydraulic hydroforming machine that's bigger than my studio. So that was also a kind of experience. You never stop exploring.
Yeah.
Whether it works or whether it doesn't, you just have to try it.
Try it, exactly.
Do it, in fact. You just have to do it.
Just have to do it.
You just keep going.
Just keep going. We have 2 minutes until the room closes down. I just don't want it to close down on you without having to say
That's okay.
Goodbyes.
That's okay.
But honestly, thank you. This was fascinating. It really is. It's always.
You're welcome.
I saw Melanie last night, and I was like, I have an interview with Shao, and then I was like, me and Shao can talk for hours, and I'm going to really, really restrain myself to not let this go forever and ever. And Melanie was like, "Good luck," because you and Shao are both talkers. I was like, "Yeah, we are," but
yes,
it was really fascinating. It's always great to talk to you, and I will reach out to you for that workshop because I think a few people here are also interested.
Okay.
And everybody here, thank you so much for being here. You can also reach out to me if you wanted more information about Shao's workshop, and I can connect you guys to Shao or organize something for all of us to go. Any more questions? Any more comments from anyone? Let me see. There's a few. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody's thanking you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me here.
Thanks, Shao. Thanks for putting the time and creating that wonderful presentation and sharing all your knowledge.
I apologize for technical difficulties.
No, that's fine. There's been worse, so don't worry about that. And I will reach out to you. Maybe even if not for the workshop, I'll come visit you in Hamilton once Toronto tour is done. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Shao. Nice to see you.
You're welcome. Nice to see you.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.